Sunday night, 9 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, and with me, of course, as usual, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan today. How are you, Shawn?
Super good. Thanks, Gary.
And over in Connecticut, of course, I have Muffler Mike Kostiuk. How are you, Mike?
I'm good.
Great. We got a busy week ahead of us, guys. We have a lot to talk about in a lot of areas. We have stuff from the World Lacrosse. We have stuff that happened in BC with under 13s, which is kind of crazy. We have a lot of games to get a hold of because both WLA and MSL are into the thick of it. PLL has rejoined us. OJLL as well as BC juniors are coming to the end of their seasons and are wrapping up for their playoffs, as well as Ontario Series Lacrosse. So it's going to be a busy, busy show. Let's get over with the network stuff first, but remember that all the shows are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as Twitch. And you can catch all the action on EOPsports.com. Remember to hit subscribe, follow, and like, and always share. Enjoy all of our affiliates. As you can see, we have many shows. The Broad Street Bully Podcast, Philly Press Box Radio, Edge of Philly Sports, Birds IQ, Patterson Avenue Fanatics, Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, The Painted Lines, Party on Broad. One of my favorites is a new show with us is the Steel Steps, Friday at 10 after SmackDown, a good wrestling show for y'all. And one of our favorites, Pat, is on that as well. You want to catch that. Great show. If you've missed any of the shows, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on all the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Spotify. And you can also catch us on YouTube. If you're looking for our show in particular, you can catch us on All Across all the time. But for any of the others, you can catch them on the YouTube page of EOP Sports. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting EOPsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. And while you're there, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you're looking for a place to grab a beer with some friends, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, Dolan's is your place to go. If you want to check it out before you head there, go to dolansbar.com where they have music, great times, memorabilia giveaways, all kinds of things going on. Great menu, good drink specials. Check it out. You're going to want to have a beer with the boys over there. Sherry's Ticket Town. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need more of a personal touch, give them a call, 610-494-5050, or visit their office at 1382 Nauman's Creek Road, Suite 1, Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania. Sherry'sTickets.com also have great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest. Save the rest. Sherry'sTickets.com. Use the special 10% code of EOP10. PhillySportsTrips.com is where you're going to find your best deals on all Eagles, Phillies, as well as Philadelphia Union things during the year. You'll probably also find Flyers specials as well. Go over there to PhillySportsTrip.com. You're not going to find anything cheaper and quality assurance. If you wind up with any legal issues, David R. Cherry Esquire and his firm, the Cherry Firm, will be more than happy to give you a hand. Workers' comp, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law, David Cherry and his group will give you a hand. You can go to www.cherryinjurylaw.com or give them a call at 610-565-0300 and tell them the EOP boys sent you, and they will help you out. All right, guys, let's get to it. We've been promoting the MacDougall Tournament for the last number of weeks, and last night it took place, and what a fun day it was. All things worked out real nice. Great auction. My son even went away with a Georgia Swarm uniform. It was pretty cool. You know, Brian Cole was even there to sign it, so it was pretty cool. But here's the old picture of everybody who played. You know, some old, some new. By the way, the winning team, it was the Lumberjacks. They're winning 15-14 in OT. Sean Ferris, assistant coach from the Georgia Swarm, wound up with the winning goal. One of the guys who came is a peak of interest was Curtis Davies. A good player to be with, to say the least, but he is one who restores wooden sticks. That was the stick he used in the game, is what you see in his hands. The group of sticks that he brought with him that was just incredible. Everything from Etienne to Alfie Jackson, all of these sticks, and he takes them and puts them almost in mint condition by the time he's done with them. Just some fabulous work. If you want to go check out some of his stuff, he is on Instagram at Whitehand003. That's WHITEHAND 003 for his Instagram page. Pretty cool stuff on there. We also, of course, had Brian Shanahan doing his thing out there. Dangerous Dan. He looks like he can still play another 10 years in the NLL. My God, he was fleet of foot last night. He looked fantastic. Now, the other thing that I've been promoting for the last little bit is coming up in just under 2 weeks now. And that, of course, is the Fan Cup. There is going to be a website to bid on some of the auction stuff. Now, there's going to be 9 or 10 things on the website. As soon as I have it, I will post it up on the All Lacrosse page, as well as on the other pages, so you can have an opportunity to bid from wherever you are and try and score some of the stuff. I know I've got a lot of stuff donated that have been really cool things, and we have some other things too. So there's a lot of stuff that is really worthwhile for collectors to sink your teeth into. One of the other real cool things that I talked to the guys about, had a little chuckle with, of course, the motto there is win or lose, we drink the booze. So why would we not have our own selection of beer? Yes, sir. 20 Cup over in Oakville. Win or lose, we drink the booze, man. You'll be the first one on your block to have one. Anyways, that's coming up in 2 weeks. There's 6 teams in it from all over the place, including Chicago, Philadelphia, Buffalo. I believe Rochester's got people in there. I don't know if they have a team this year, as well as local. And, the Roadies, that's my team. Even my son's going to be playing. So, if you want to watch some passionate playing, I don't know if you're going to be watching NLL Caliber, but passionate playing. Win or lose, we drink the booze. Remember, that's the motto here. So it's going to be a fun day for everything. And even in the lunch break, some of the ladies who aren't playing are getting together for their own little tournament there. So it'll be fun for everybody. And there's all kinds of things. There's going to be food. There's going to be a beer garden. There's auctions, and as well as a whole bunch of other things. So you want to come down there. I don't think it can cost you anything. So just go on in and come say hello. Moving on, guys. I always bring up that positive stuff because we have so much negative stuff that's coming on here. I want to talk about this English Japan game from the Worlds, just to let everybody in on what was going on. Let's let them see the hit first. Now, to preface it, the game is over. Japan was winning 8-4. I think there was less than a second, maybe 0.3 of a second left on the clock when this happened. Just to get a better look at it, we're going to see it again in slow motion. You will see the headbutt. Boom. There's really not a whole lot to sit and try and defend. Now, I'm hearing people say that the player that jumped in on top of him should be suspended as well, but I think he did what he's supposed to do. Yeah, 0.3 seconds left in the fourth, 8-4. This game is done. And this guy was unconscious. We don't need to see it again. England came out with a statement. And here we go. In the closing moments of the 5th-6th playoff game of the World Lacrosse Championships held in San Diego on Friday, June 30th, an extremely regrettable incident occurred involving England player number 24, Andrew Baxter. Baxter executed a late, high, and excessively violent tackle on Sota Hakazaki of the Japanese team. England Lacrosse unequivocally condemns this action as it goes against the principles of fair play and sportsmanship that we uphold. We want to express our sincerest apologies to Sota Hakazaki and the entire Japanese team for the distress caused by this incident. Now, let me get rid of the banner here. We are relieved that Soto has thankfully recovered from the incident without sustaining serious injury. Our thoughts and best wishes remain with him and the entire Japanese team as they move forward. Following the incident, England Lacrosse has been fully cooperative with the World Lacrosse throughout the disciplinary process associated with the World Lacrosse Championships. This process has now reached its conclusion, with World Lacrosse imposing a 6-game international ban on Andrew Baxter as a consequence of his actions. In addition to the World Lacrosse disciplinary measures, England Lacrosse will be conducting our own internal disciplinary process to ensure impartiality. We have asked Mark Jeffries, a board member and chairperson of the Performance and Talent Group, to form an independent panel that will oversee this process. The findings of this panel will be made public once they have been reached. We are committed to addressing this matter with the utmost seriousness and transparency. England Lacrosse will continue to emphasize the importance of fair play, respect, and safety within our sport. We will do everything in our power to prevent such incidents from happening in the future and maintain the integrity of the game. Once again, we extend our deepest apologies to Soto Hakazaki, the Japanese team, and all those affected by this regrettable incident. I think they did the right thing there.
Yep.
I think 6 games internationally is a that may end his playing career, but I don't think that that's enough for that kind of hit. I think a full and total ban is what needs to happen, but that's just me. But that England is going to go further with their disciplinary stuff, I think, is a really good sign, and it shows that people are paying attention.
Yeah, credit to England for taking it seriously.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. This brings me over to this BC under 13 thing. Next week we will have Michelle Boyer on, and she will discuss pretty much everything to do with women's lacrosse. Her global site that is up and running now, gender equity, as well as a lot of these things at the grassroots level, which are not getting the same interest and not getting the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Publicity as boys lacrosse. And hopefully we can put a little more light onto it. And I know that she has a number of things that she wants to talk about, which is going to be very interesting. So tell your friends, tell your associates that next week at 9:00 on All Across All the Time that you're going to want to tune in, because it's going to be worth your time to watch. Just to get into this story a little bit, we'll start with the good parts of this thing first. First off, from the New Westminster Silent Bellies, the minor lacrosse team, this is how we do: shared passion, teammates, and sport. Really, the story is about the team that couldn't go to the finals because of injuries and things like that. And they were joined with both New West and Victoria girls to form this team. And they went through all the correct things. They went through BC Lacrosse, got it approved, and went into this tournament. And unfortunately, apparently they said that they were stacking their team. Now the team finished 2-2. If you stack a team, shouldn't it be 4-0? But regardless, the stacking, and they took the 2 wins away, which included one against the home team, which was 7-1. And the girl that scored the hat trick on that team was benched. She was too good to play, but she had no affiliation with anybody, so she wasn't a club player. But anyways, it didn't faze her, because if you look at this picture on the far left, you'll see a little girl with a pink helmet on. She stayed dressed, and she stayed on the bench as the gate opening and closing person. Now, just to get into this a little bit, now, again, this is from the mother of the girl, so I'd like to get a little bit more before we would say this as concrete facts. But again, Michelle Boyer on next week to discuss this and a number of other incidents. Just to put onto the story that I'm sure a lot of you already seen from all of the sites. Serious question for social media universe, for all lacrosse and general sports families and fans. When was the last time you heard of a player being expelled from a tournament because they were handpicked as being too good? Well, if you've never heard of it, now you can say you have. Yesterday, our daughter, who is 12 in B Division, got banished from a tournament because she played one of her best games against the hosting tournament team. So while her team got to play other games, the hosting team decided she was benched for the rest, simply because she was not the best. She was the best player on the team. Good to note there were 3 other Team BC players. She is not one of them. I thought the best players got an MVP award, not kicked out of the tournament, was what the mother had said. She took it like a champ and showed up fully dressed to support her team. Instead of playing, she managed the door. Again, she is 12 in B Division. On Friday, I shared a posting from our home association, Minor Bellies Proud, that 7 players from our B team stepped up to help with Victoria. This is Victoria's first ever time putting a team roster together for girls only. This was Victoria's first ever tournament. They have a full roster, but due to injuries and personal reasons, only 9 could come over. They paid for the 9 family fare rides, hotels, meals, and their younger siblings. Then our 7 players joined them to help out. Thanks to awesome manager Colleen, we had all our ducks in a row. Our players were approved by multiple commissioners and the hosting tournament committee. We were asked Tuesday who could play this Friday to Sunday. 7 families jumped up and said they could make every game. 2 others said maybe, and the rest had commitments. There was no hand picking. It was based on who could do this on short-term notice. I should also note our current New West team is ranked middle of our current league. We win some, we lose some. We are definitely not some crazy dynamite team, but we have a team with a lot of passion on it. Game 1 versus the host team, we won 7-1. The host team decided the Victoria Eagles stacked their team with New West Salmon Bellies and thus were banished from the tournament. As a result, Victoria could play further round-robin games, but my child had to be benched. They took away all Victoria wins. We had a record of 2-2 in actual play, but made it 0-4. Even the game where they banished my child because she was too good, our team won, and they took the game as a loss. They took the Victoria's first ever medal game possible, which could have been a gold. Anyways, let's take a look at a couple more of the comments on there. First of all, let's do the BC Lacrosse apology. Dear Lena, the minor directorate would like to offer you a heartfelt apology for the unfortunate incident that occurred during the Rainstorm Lacrosse Tournament, June 8th to 11th, 2023. We sincerely regret any pain and suffering this may have caused you. We recognize your spot on the combined New Westminster Victoria Girls Under 13 lacrosse team had been approved at all required levels. To then be singled out and removed from the tournament because you were the top goal scorer in your team's first game of the tournament was, in our opinion, beyond unfair. While you should have been celebrating your outstanding play, you were left to question what you did wrong. Furthermore, to be singled out and named in a newspaper article that was unfavorable to your team is beyond regrettable. Lena, we want to be very clear. You did nothing wrong. You deserve to be able to play with the team during the entire Rainstorm tournament and to be eligible for the medal round games. While we cannot undo what has transpired, we hope you will accept our apology. We are committed to upholding the highest standards of fairness and integrity within lacrosse. Lena, we hope you can rebuild your trust in us and truly hope you continue to play lacrosse. You're exactly the kind of young woman who belongs in lacrosse. Sincerely, Gord McIntosh, minor directorate chair. Pretty good apology, I'd say. From the other team, unfortunately, being as good as you are and scoring multiple goals in the first game, you stood out in the under 13 division of the tournament. The tournament committee was concerned about the integrity of the competition in the under 13 B division and attempted to even things up by banning you from playing with the merged U13B Victoria New Westminster team. In hindsight, this was unfair to you as a player, as the under 13B Victoria New Westminster team roster had been submitted by adults and approved by adults. We can't take back the decision, but we can apologize for it. And again, on behalf of the Rainstorm Tournament Committee, we are sorry. You are a great player, and if you continue to work hard and play the way you know you can, are going to be have a very successful lacrosse career. We look forward to watching you play in the Rainstorm Tournament for many years to come. The Rainstorm Committee. I think that sheds a little light on everything there. Like I say, we'll have Michelle on next week, and she'll elaborate on this because apparently this is not a secluded incident. That's the concerning point to me. Is if it was a single event, this happens. It happens in boys. It happens in girls, and it's unfortunate, and the committee should be dealt with. But because it's not secluded, that's wherein lies the problems. And we're going to get into a whole lot of other issues because of that. Anyways, guys, we should get on to some happier news. Hey, wait a minute. Eduardo's here. There he is.
Hey, Eduardo.
I agree. That's absolute BS.
Yeah.
And especially under 13. That's a grassroots that we're trying to grow.
They're
especially
kids, for God's sake.
They're
kids, for God's sake.
Ridiculous. And then we do. I think that the powers that be are going to be like I say, Michelle will be on next week, and we will elaborate much further with what's going on there.
Yeah, it's very possible we may get some information that we don't have at this time about that.
Absolutely. I'm open to all things coming in. That I've seen as the major stuff, including the letters of apologies, and the other stuff that was precursed to it. But the main point of it was approved by all beforehand, by adults, as the letter said. So, it was interesting that they had to put down it was approved by adults. Do you think it was approved by the 12-year-olds? Anyways, let's talk about some NLL signings. Re-signed in Vancouver, we had Reed Bowering and Keegan Ball. Big-time signings there. They need both of those guys for their rebuild.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Moving over to Albany, Will Johansson. Draft pick from Robert Morris has been signed.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I know Shawn's excited about that signing too for Albany. So he's.
Well, we're saving Shawn's excitement for the next two.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got Connor McClellan signed for 2 years over in Saskatchewan, which is a big piece to that.
Big piece of their defense for sure. Yep.
And of course, Clark Walter for 2 years. So
I think that's the even bigger one. He had such a great end to the year. He made Marshall Palace expendable last year, and he's going to be that future of that offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yes, Eduardo, Vancouver's resign was massive. Absolutely. Yeah, Eduardo's got a good point too. If it happened in the U.S., to be 50 lawyers ready to sue. I laugh about it, but it's true, right?
Yep.
Mike?
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
It's just I just find the whole thing kind of nutty. So, you don't expect that maybe in under 21s, where these are going for contracts and going for big,
Again, they're kids. They're kids.
That's what I'm saying. It's about kids. It's about letting kids play, guys or girls. It doesn't really matter at that age. Put them together. We do it in hockey.
Yeah,
really don't understand. It's non-contact.
Yeah,
let them learn the skills together. We don't need to have just simple teams on either side. Sure, you can have your all-stars and your club teams, but as a house leagues and stuff like that, really?
Yeah, it's just in the fact that it was all approved, and the kids who helped out were just happened to be the kids who were available.
Exactly,
it makes the whole situation just more baffling.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I say we'll have more. Hey, Dave's with us. How are you, Dave?
Hey, Dave.
He's going to Lacrosse land. We are doing well.
Just heard the last 5 minutes, you'd think it wasn't, but
no. I think it's still sunshine and rainbows in Lacrosseville. That's why we started out with the MacDougall charity tournament and auction and things like that. Just fun stuff. But not everything is always great. But speaking of good, we have Shawn with the Junior A report. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
going into the final week of the season here, before the postseason, I guess. I guess we'll start off Sunday. We had the one late game that we weren't able to get to. We saw the Delta Islanders take out Victoria Shamrocks 10-9. Heading into Tuesday, then New West picked up a 9-8 win over the Port Coquitlam Saints. Wednesday, we saw the Adanacs pick up an 11-8 win as they hold on to first place in the standings. Thursday, Burnaby with a 10-7 win over Langley. Friday, we had Coquitlam 13 to New Westminster 6. And then finally, we have Port Coquitlam with a 22-8 win over Langley. So unfortunately, a bit of a
There you go.
load in that one.
All righty, and
there we go. Saturday, Victoria, and again another high-scoring game. Victoria came up with a 20-7 win over Delta, and Nanaimo a 10-7 win over Burnaby. And then tonight, actually, we do have a final score on that. It was Nanaimo 12 and New Westminster 8. So I guess looking at the standings now, this is from Saturday night standings, but nothing really changes heading into the playoffs. So you got Coquitlam and Victoria first and second. So the way the playoffs work with BC, I'm just going to pull up just to make sure I got it correct here. So the first round, so the first two teams, 1 and 2, pick up the first round bye, and the next 4 teams qualify for the first round. So we have Victoria and Coquitlam who will pick up that bye in the first round. You have Nanaimo, Port Coquitlam, Burnaby, and New West heading into the playoffs. And unfortunately, Delta and Langley will be taking up the rear there and building for next year.
Right. All righty. So we move over to Ontario, and we had a busy week there as their final week and a bit left. There's a couple of games next week, but looking at starting from last Monday, Orangeville, again, still undefeated, 15-7 over Six Nations. Kitchener got a win. Don't say that very often. 15-11 over Peterborough. Whitby over Six Nations on the July 4th holiday in the U.S. 14-5. July the 5th, we went with Brampton winning in a defensive struggle, 7-4. Orangeville just kicked the doors in Kitchener and allowed everybody to know they were around with a 21-3 victory. Burlington beat on Peterborough 12-7. And you had Mimico losing to the Beaches 10-7. Oakville lost to the Beaches the next day, 15-9. Moving to July 7th, Brampton lost to Orangeville. Again, still undefeated, 8-5. Whitby beat Peterborough 8-4. Six Nations lost to Mimico on the 8th, 15-8. A very, very low scoring game. Oakville beat Burlington 5-3. You don't see scores like that very often that are not still in the first period. And looking at today's games, we had Mimico beat Brampton 8-6. These scores just came in. Six Nations beat the Beaches 12-10. And Orangeville, once again, over Kitchener 20-7. So it's hard to do that with a straight face. Looking at it, Orangeville is now 20-0. That's ridiculous, right? Burlington 14-6, Oakville 13-7, Beaches 12-7, Mimico is now 12-7, Whitby 9-11, St. Catharines 8-12, Brampton is now 7-13, Six Nations is 6-13, Peterborough 4-15, Kitchener 2-16. We have a couple of games on the docket coming up. Let me just pull them up here quickly. And that is, of course, we got one game left. Mimico and Peterborough tomorrow night. And that will do it for the schedule. Then we'll be heading into playoffs. Moving to Ontario Series Lacrosse. Not a whole lot going on there either because they're already settled waiting for playoffs. You had Brooklyn over the Ennismore James Gang 9-4. Owen Sound beat Brooklyn 12-11. Six Nations was up 15-5. I never got a final in that one. I've been trying, believe me. 15-5. And unless something crazy happened in there, that is a Six Nations victory. And this afternoon, Oakville beat the Rivermen 15-13. We have our special guest here. We have Pat.
Hey,
Steel steps.
What's up, boys?
Our steps. How are you, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Talk to us about that show for a second. Steel
Oh,
Steps
man.
is an awesome show, man.
Oh, it is. It's great. It's great. I got a great cast of guys. I got Joey Woods. I got Hakeem. I got Chris. We're always breaking down Friday night. We're talking about the hottest pro wrestling conversations, whether it's WWE, AEW. I mean, anything that's going on at, Impact Wrestling, it's all going down. You know what I'm saying? So, look, someone's bound to get hit into the steel steps. That's for sure. So, and hopefully it's not me this time. So, but yeah, it's a very exciting product. I'm glad to be part of it.
Awesome.
So,
Well, we're at that stage now of course,
yes.
DLL. And we had a busy week now that they're all back. Oh, Dave. You've been busy with softball. I haven't checked in a while. Good. We are good. We got Pat here now too, so we're even better.
Yes. Well, let's not
gang
consider
is back the gang is back together again.
Yes. I'm pumped up. I finally got to see some lacrosse on live TV. It felt like forever to get some like live lacrosse action coming through my TV. But I mean, it was right there on ESPN. I was in love with it. I mean, the Phillies were, stinking it up. So he gave me a perfect option to take the challenge changer and click down his bums off.
Well, we got some pretty good games too. That was the thing, and then we had the Atlas game. But we had the Water Dogs in Chrome to start this off, and that was a pretty cool game. Water Dogs doing what the Water Dogs do. They go into a 3-0 lead, and was a 7-1 lead at the half. Thinking this game is over. Don't touch your dials, man. Chrome got themselves together at the half. Come out with a great third, 5 goals they scored. They wound up dropping a game 10-7, but put in a really good effort. Kieran McCardle, what can we say about him, man? He had a great Worlds with USA and just continued that along. 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. He was the guy that was a big catalyst of why the Water Dogs wound up winning that game. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, picking up right where they left off, and I mean now they're 3-1, and I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things. It's almost kind of between the fact that they took 2 weeks off from Worlds and that you didn't expect them to do what they did last year. You almost kind of forget that they're the defending champs.
Well, yeah, and also you had Dylan Ward back in net, right? So,
yeah, so I mean, they're kind of quietly going about their business, and obviously it's going to pick up, over the next month and a half or so. But they're putting themselves in position, and hopefully they can keep rolling, and maybe we can see another repeat.
Big news out of that game, though, guys, was of course Connor Farrell. 500 career faceoff wins. He went a mere 18 for 19 in this game. Pretty incredible stuff. Still the scariest guy in the field.
Yeah, and the other thing I would add probably for Chrome is I'm sure they're, despite the loss, they're beyond thrilled to have Brendan Nickturn back, last year's Rookie of the Year.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's one of his goals is in our little package of goals of the week, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I move over to the next one, and of course I have to put on a black armband for this particular one, and it didn't look bad to start with, man. Like Atlas, they seem to have their stuff together for the first quarter. Unfortunately, we're playing 4 quarters. 5-3 at the end of one. And then you could actually hear the roof go boom as it fell to the ground with a 9-1 second quarter in favor of the Cannons, in which no 2-point goals were scored. You had 9 goals that went in. Yeah. I said the same thing when oh, man. We'll get to the beginning. Jeff Teat was doing Jeff Teatish things. He got the first goal. Ryan Drenner tied it up. Brian Kostiuk with a 2-pointer, matched by Chris Islanian, and we were still tied, 3-3. Romar Dennis with a blast just inside the arc made it 4-3 for Atlas, and Chris Gray off of Trevor Baptiste face-off made it 5-3 with just a couple of seconds left, and things are looking rosy for Atlas. Enter period, quarter number 2. Asher Nolting gets it going right quick, less than 30 seconds in. Jonathan Donville scores the next 2, and it's now 6-5 for the Cannons. Danny Logan ties it up 6-6, and that's all we heard from Atlas for the rest of that particular quarter. Matt Kavanaugh, Marcus Holman, Kavanaugh again, Nolting again, Donville again, Chris Islanian, and it's 12-6 going into the half, and now Atlas is reeling.
And at this point, we should probably point out that this was 9 goals in a 12-minute quarter. Not a 15-minute quarter, not a 20-minute period, a 12-minute quarter.
I can go one step further than that. This is 6 goals in 7 minutes. Okay? I really would want to just put that salt in there real nice.
Falling apart.
Yeah.
They're losing body parts, all right? They're not just falling apart. You know, an arm over there, kneecap over there, a shoe over there that still had a foot in it. It was an ugly, ugly thing. Now, come out of the intermission, and Jeff Teat on a power play. He gets a goal, and it's 12-7, and things are starting to look upward, right? Wrong. Here comes Matt Campbell and Marcus Holman, and it's 14-7. 2-point goal by Romar Dennis, followed by another goal, his first ever, by Michael Rexroth, and it was 14-10, and there was a little bit of hope. I'd say a little bit. Enter the fourth quarter. Here comes the Cannons. You can hear the boom. You can feel the boom. Matt Campbell, Matt Kavanaugh, Marcus Holman, Ryan Drenner, and it's 18-10. And for all intents and purposes, this is done. Eric Law gets a goal for Atlas, but it's answered by Matt Campbell with his third of the game. And Eric Law finishes it off with 20 seconds left. That makes our final score 19-12. And I'll tell you right now, the score is a lot closer than games.
Yeah.
Yes, this was not one of the finer events in Atlas history.
Yeah, and congratulations to Marcus Holman. I believe it's the 4th player in field history to reach 300 goals. So
he's the 4th one.
Yep.
He's the 4th one behind John Grant Jr., Paul Rabel, and Brendan Mundorf. And we have a little clip there because we have the goal, and we have his dad as the coach with a little bit.
That's super nice.
There it is. Number 300 for Marcus Holman. The Cannons power play strikes again, and that is history for number 1.
Someone on your team that plays with a lot of spirit and joy is your son, Marcus, who got to the 300 club amongst an elite group of players like a Paul Rabel and a John Grant Jr. What's it been like to watch his journey?
It's incredible. I'm blessed so many ways. Got to be able to share this with him. I don't think Mark, this is a coach talking, not his dad. I don't think Mark gets anywhere near the credit he deserves. He scored 300 goals as being a professional, and you never hear his name mentioned in that, but he doesn't want it that way. He's a grinder, and he's a tough lacrosse player, and he loves this game as much as anybody else, so just really proud of him.
And, of course, as Eduardo puts it, the word onslaught. Come on. That's about right. So, the Atlas woes still continue, and I still scratch my head at the cutting of Clark Peterson, who has spent his entire lacrosse career playing with Jeff Teat. They are like yin and yang. I watched them come up in Brampton together through the minor lacrosse, through junior. I watched them in Cornell play together, and they were yin and yang. I watched them in the Minto Cup stuff. They were yin and yang. I watched them when they were in Atlas. They were yin and yang. And now you've cut him, and Atlas is in need of a person like Clark Peterson doing the other things that Teat can't do or needs to be set up for. To me, it's mind-boggling. But, he hasn't been signed by anybody yet, so maybe there's a chance he gets back there.
And we saw what Peterson did at the Worlds. I mean,
God, yeah, he was one of the brighter spots for the Team Canada offense, which really should have had a whole lot more zing to it than it did. But once again, we'll talk about how great a defense the U.S. put up and a great blueprint. Let's move on to the Redwoods and Chaos, and this one is a bit of a head scratcher and a shocker in my eyes. I expected Chaos to just come out of flying.
No, not at all. Not at all, Double G. What happened was the Redwoods, they took them to the woodshed right and early. I want to see what this kid Josh Bryan was all about, and I want to see how good he really was. And, well, today was his test. And guess what? He came out silent because in that first half, it was all Redwood. How do you want it? You want Glenzie? You want Ryder Glimsey? Did you want Rob Powell? I mean, these guys, it was a 1-2 punch. I mean, it was Glimsey who got the hat trick and some more in the first half. I mean, this dude was dangerous. I mean, every time, I don't know what the coach agenda was, but I mean, every time I saw this kid hit the floor, I mean, if I was the opposing coach, I would say, listen, you guys follow him. I don't care if he has got to go to the bathroom. You follow that man. That man's dangerous. And listen, every time I saw Ryder Glimsey just on the floor, I mean, he was making tight shots. It was nice ball movement. I mean, it was really some good X's and O's playmaking from the Redwood. I mean, they came with their A game. I don't know about the Chaos. I mean, they put up a little bit of a fight in that second half, but that's expected because everyone comes out, swinging. But, just the Redwood just shut it down, just defensively, offensively. It was just too much. And like I said, I want to see what this kid Josh Bryan was all about, and I didn't get him much of a sample size.
Well, yeah, I mean, man, I think Josh Bryan is a pretty okay player. To tell you the truth.
Yeah. I mean, you never know that could certainly be maybe a little bit of a hangover from the Bandits Championship, and then going right into Worlds with Canada. So,
mind you, he did make one of the oh wow goals. So when I put that clip up in a minute or two, he did have a round of world in less than 80 days. Believe me. But yeah, the Redwoods come out and they, as Pat says, they take Chaos to the woodshed, and that was the end of that. There was no Chaos involved there whatsoever.
That seems to be the kind of question mark every year is that the Chaos as well. It's the Chaos Bandits. They got the chemistry, but they can't seem to put together once they get on the field with PLL.
Yeah, they can't seem to final touch, but it's funny because they also have the best goalie in field.
Yeah, but he didn't play.
No,
this time around. So they did go with Austin Kaut. Not sure what if there was anything behind that, but maybe same excuse, for Josh Byrne kind of having a down game for Chaos, that maybe just Blaze wasn't available after Worlds,
right?
For a bit. So, but for me, I'm looking at this game thinking, first of all, Redwoods got some revenge, for the game they lost to Chaos before the Worlds began.
Yep.
And PLL took a break, and I really like seeing Ryder Garnsey stepping up, especially with almost at this point, I'm almost kind of thinking it's approaching kind of power outage level here from guys like Miles Jones and Sergio Perkovic.
Right.
I mean, the last year they relied on those two guys so much, especially with 2-point goals. And not sure what's going on with that, whether it's just a change in the way they're running their offense this year or something. But we're certainly not seeing the numbers we would be used to seeing from those guys. But Garnsey is stepping up in their place. So, and hey, they're 3-1, so I guess you can't make too many.
How they win doesn't matter as long as they
and if
Exactly.
if they build up later in the year and get hot later in the year, I mean, how's it any different than the way chaos heats up when the playoffs start?
Absolutely.
Should they make the playoffs? They
Absolutely.
turn it
Good
on
point.
another gear. So
Very good point, Mike.
Well, next week they got the Archers, so I mean, I hope this can carry over with some good momentum. You know what I mean? Like, because you're gonna have, that's another 3-1 team that's gonna be waiting for you. So,
a lot of firepower on their offense.
Yeah, very much so.
Which we'll get
we
into
have the
shortly.
Archers in our next game going against the Whip Snakes.
Yeah, so Archers.
Very even attack at 3 goals a quarter, right?
Yeah, from Whip Snakes, and you definitely like to see that consistency. But Archers do pull it out, a 15-12 victory. For Archers, you had Connor Fields with a hat trick and 2 assists. Matt Moore, 4 goals, lighting it up as of late. Tom Schreiber doing his thing, 2-1. And I think we need to it may be a little early, but I think we need to start talking about maybe Mike Sisselberger for Rookie of the Year for Archers. 23 of 27 on faceoffs, and he's just really, in a league, in a sport where we've been talking about Trevor Baptiste and Jake Withers, TD Erlin for Redwoods, Max Adler. He's holding his own, more than holding his own, against the top face-off guys, in the world. And, hopefully the league or the writers, whoever votes, takes note of that and gives him some consideration.
Yeah.
But, he might have some competition on his own team, as Brett Dobson had 14 saves in the win, and he's really looking good.
Just running it over
Archers.
from the NLL, right?
Yeah. So, for Whip Snakes, obviously the face-offs, the lack of face-offs hurt. They were 4 for 28 for the game. Tucker Dordovic, 5 points, including 2 2-point goals. You had Mike Chanenchuk with a hat trick. But stat that stands out to me. Archers holding Will Manning to just 3 assists for the game. Right. And that was their big offseason acquisition for Whip Snakes.
Yeah.
So, but they fall to 1-3 on the year.
Right. So, as always, we have our oh my goals, and here are a few of them. There's some that didn't get onto the list, but there are more out there. Believe me.
They win the face-off. They still have defensive personnel with a 32-second shot clock. The clock's at 12 right now.
Well, this could be trouble. And Chrome on the board first in the second half. Sowers, so crafty. Walker with an open.
It's a 3-on-3. Good opportunity for Gargi to get to the middle.
Yeah, you can definitely see how he realizes that right away, having that outside,
Start the deception. You see Couch down on his knees.
Sets it up. Burn goes around the world and scores.
I had a feeling that was. He's just a walking highlight, JT. Human highlight reel, right there.
Human highlight reel is correct.
Jeez.
But Garnsey, man, that footwork is just insane, isn't it? Stops on a dime, goes the other way, has everybody moving still the other way. And, between that and Michael Sowers and his ball movement, it's just incredible. And the shots, that last shot, if it didn't have a net up there, it probably hit the moon. That thing was going at 180 miles an hour.
Well, can we talk about those uniforms too this week?
Yeah, those Indigenous
are pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
And if you want one, you can get onto the PLL site. They are selling all of them now. So,
Awesome.
so you might want to get on there, get into the shop zone of PLL, and get yourself one because they were all just sweet, man.
Sweet. And was there anything with that design, that jersey design? Anything particularly significant? Like, was it like a local artist or anything like that? Or
there's nothing that I read about it, but it's very possible.
I don't know. Those things are fire.
So, so.
Oh, they were made by champions.
So.
Yep. Absolutely. But to look at the PLL upcoming, we have the Whipsnakes and the Water Dogs playing Friday at 6. We have the 8:30 game, which is the Redwoods and Archers. Still Friday.
Big one.
Yeah, huge game. Chrome and the Cannons are on ESPN2 Saturday at 6 p.m. And the late game Saturday night is Atlas against Chaos in a battle of both teams that had weary days that are both trying to get off the snide. And, the 8:30 game Saturday night. We're coming up to their All-Star weekend, too, which is the following weekend. So July 22nd is the Rising Stars against the Veterans. Should be an interesting day. 6 o'clock for the skills, 7:30 for the game. So that's going to be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, too, with the scheduling, whether the teams that you see respond to the schedule are the ones that you're going to see succeed in the playoffs, where you had, 3 weeks of play, then you stop for 2 weeks for Worlds. You got another 2 weeks of play this past week and next weekend, and then you stop again for the All-Star game, and then you go 5 straight to the end. It's a little bit quirky, obviously, with Worlds kind of throwing a wrench into the mix there, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how some of these teams respond to, coming out of the breaks, going into the breaks.
Well, as soon as you get rolling again, you're a couple of weeks in and you're stopping again.
It's hard to keep any momentum.
Yeah.
And especially with them not allowed to play anywhere else, they don't really get a chance to keep themselves sharp. So
true.
If you weren't on the Worlds and if you're not on the All-Star team, you really have to be disciplined to keep yourself sharp for this. So.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see if that trips anybody up going to the finish line, or it ignites anybody who maybe needs to be rested. So
sure,
you definitely can't complain that you're burnt out, because unless you played in everything, you get a lot of time off. Anyways, that brings us to the WLA and to the MSL. Let's start up with some WLA stuff, shall we? I believe Tuesday was the first game on that agenda.
It was, yep. New Westminster and Coquitlam, and Coquitlam's woes continue while New Westminster's kind of finding some momentum down the stretch. 14-5 win for New Westminster. So it wasn't really much of a match. We just talked about the re-signing of Keegan Ball in Vancouver. He had 5 goals and 5 assists in this game, so that's a great sign if you're a Warriors fan. Will Malcolm had 7 assists, so he was passing the ball. And Kevin Crowley, again, San Diego, 3 goals, 3 assists. Even Jordan McBride had 2 goals and 3 assists in this one. One maybe note of interest with Coquitlam is kind of the 2 top scorers are Matthew Delmonico and Clark Walter, kind of 2 of their NLL guys. So maybe they need a few more guys to step up. That may be a possibility in there too, as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, let's move along. We go from Phillies beating the Adnex to the next night. The old Shamrocks dropping another one.
And Shamrocks ran into the juggernaut that is Langley Thunder.
Listen to my Shamrocks. My summer is just going to the dog pound, man. Wow.
But yeah, surprisingly low scoring game, 9-5 for Langley.
Well, you got the Thunder there. Only 9 goals. But the thing that stands out to me is the Shamrocks with 5 goals. Sigliano with 44 saves. Dixon was the big catalyst with 2 goals and 3 assists for Langley.
Yeah.
Thomas Vason was the bright spark for Shamrock. Again, that's something I don't expect to see, is that he's the catalyst.
Where's Marshall King?
Or anybody else? Where's Brad McCulley? Where's
There's a lot of guys.
Yeah, Cole pickup. So
Pickup. You got Chris Wardle on your team too. Where is he?
I'm just curious where the whole team went, man, because you take a look from the second to the third, there really was nothing. There was no Shamrocks anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, no lucky Shamrocks?
They weren't very lucky.
not this year.
I feel like you can't really put much blame on Cam Dunkerley in goal. I mean, he's still only allowed 9. I mean,
Exactly. He faced, 44 shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a low-scoring game. Like, normally, if you keep a team to 9, you should be right in the mix of it. But,
But yeah,
again, like Langley just keeps rolling.
Just gone. There's nothing to it. So, yeah, rebuild is one thing, but this is, it just dried up like the well out in Arizona.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it there. Oh, well.
They've got to watch out. But
Onward. The Bellies.
I'm used to this kind of stuff.
The Bellies and the Thunder, man. This was
a huge game.
This was the game of the week. And this one, I'd like to say I'm really shocked. I'm not really shocked. New West has been playing that good this summer. But I still expected the Thunder to wind up on top. 15-13 for New West over Langley.
Ends a 9-game winning streak for Langley.
Yeah, and I think this was big for New West because they were already 0-2 against Langley, so they really needed that win. I mean, if
they did, yeah.
If we're kind of looking at the way the league is shaping up right now, we're probably expecting the WLA final to be New West and Langley. So they need that shot of confidence, heading into the playoffs. So, especially because it's possible they may have the tougher team to play in the semis in Nanaimo. So,
right. Yeah. Let's give Langley a little bit of credit though, man, because they got down really badly through that first one. They're down 7-1, and they battled their way back in this game.
Yeah.
Because it could have been easy just to throw in the towel and say, "Yep, not tonight." They battled all the way back. They were 7-7 midway through the second, and then it was like a Rocky fight. One punch this way, one punch that way.
I mean, these two teams are that good. I mean, like Mike said, like these are probably going to be your 2 top teams heading probably towards the WLA finals. And guy not to sleep on with the Salmon Bellies right now is Hayden Dixon. He put up 7 goals in that game. I mean, he's on a tear. And again, Keegan Ball had 8 points. Boy, Vancouver, get excited for this guy. He's had a hell of a summer.
And, with good teams comes this, is they don't take stupid penalties and they stay disciplined. And there's only 3 penalties this whole game. And 2 of them were holding the stick. So if you're not allowing your other team to
both these teams knew what was at stake.
Can you imagine if you had one of the teams allowing a power play to get rolling?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what's at stake because, I mean, Sam Bellies lose this one, they lose that much more ground on first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All righty. That brings us over to the Shamrocks actually winning a game.
The streak is over.
I actually heard about the parade in Victoria. Yeah, they had a parade that marched down bagpipes and everything, and it was 10-9 over Burnaby. This is what it's come to, guys. This is what it's come to.
I mean, again,
we had a Marshall King sighting too.
Yeah,
it was 2 goals, 2 assists for Marshall King. Torrin Eccleston, who was just absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah,
he had 3 goals, 3 assists over for the Lakers. Casey Wilson. It's not a household name.
No.
But 2 goals and an assist there in the cause. Thank goodness, because without his 2 goals.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was the one who scored it. He's the one who won it for him, really, in the end there. He was clutch.
Absolutely. On the power play at that. So, and then give it to him. They played 10 minutes of shutting down Burnaby to make sure that they didn't blow this game. But again, a game that they should win handily, 10-9. Granted, it's double the output that they had in the other game, but still, this is not one to go and breathe easy, going, okay, everything's right. No, they need to do a lot of reshuffling and reshaking, and re-signing and moving and trading and whatever they can do, because this is a territory that the Victoria Shamrocks are not very familiar with.
I mean, that's the word we keep hearing over and over again, right? Is rebuild. They're in a rebuild year. Well, sometimes it's not that hard to turn it around that quick, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still under 500, 5-6-1, and we've talked about it before. That tie with Maple Ridge, they're 0-1-1 against Maple Ridge right now, and Maple Ridge is breathing down their neck. at 6-1.
Interesting if that would be the tie that would stop them from getting into playoffs. Yeah.
Very well could. And I mean, fortunately for Victoria, Maple Ridge is hosting Langley tonight, so they can gain another game, and then we'll get into next week's games.
Because that gets even more interesting, right, Mike?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, again, we get another one of those games that make me shake my head at the trading they'd made. With the Adanacs losing 13-7 to the Timbermen. That's a direct result of the moves that they made before. Is it just to gain some extra stuff down the road? Yeah, but it certainly hampered what they're doing this year.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, obviously one of the acquisitions Coquitlam made had a little bit of an impact in the game. Jordan Roberts had a goal and assist.
Mm-hmm.
Another NLLer who we haven't seen play, but he is on the San Diego roster. Adam Noakes had a pair of goals. But Nanaimo was kind of all over them from the beginning. 5-1 lead after the first period. Zach Mann's just continuing a big summer for Nanaimo. He had a hat trick and 2 assists. Ryan Sheridan had a hat trick. Adam Wiedemann.
I'm hoping he ramps this one in, though. I'm hoping he ramps this into the fall and into the winter. Man, or something that they need on the Rock.
Definitely. Yeah. And like I said, Adam Wiedemann with a couple of goals, and Justin Getty got the nod in net, and he's having a pretty hot summer for Nanaimo too. 42 saves in the win.
Right.
So, and we're not talking a whole lot about Nanaimo with the way obviously Langley's playing, with the way New Westminster's playing, and the reasons kind of behind their off-season moves and play. With Langley obviously wanting to kind of going all in, New Westminster wanting to reverse what happened last year. Nanaimo's quietly putting together a good season. They're 8-4 now. So they've got 2.5 games separation on Victoria for 4th place.
Right.
And
it's funny. Oh, sorry, Mike. I was
go ahead.
It's funny you say that, because we said the exact same thing last year about Nanaimo, right? They just kind of slowly crept up before you knew they were in a tie for 1st place.
And
remember last team you can't sleep on.
And remember last year they had that, and it looks like they almost kind of have the same situation this year, where their schedule was kind of front loaded.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think last year, they didn't even, they played 1 game maybe over the last 3 weeks of the season or something like that.
That's right too. Yeah.
And they pretty much had to wait for everything else to shake out, and then of course we had the 4-way tie for 1st place.
Well, my Shamrocks were in 1st place and watched that slip away as they did what they started at the beginning of this year. We didn't wait till the end to start losing games. We did that at the beginning. Maybe we can find a way to win some at the end to try and get back into this thing, just to flip it around a little bit. But again, when you're looking at New West and Langley, really when push comes to shove, you have those two here, and then you have the other teams.
The rest.
There.
Yeah.
It's like Peterborough and Six Nations, and then the other 3 teams are 4 if you would put in any of the other ones in there. But it's just the way it is right now, and that's it. It's a battle of 4 teams for the Mann Cup in my eyes. 2 on either side.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I agree with you, Gary. I always see it like 3 tiers in the WLA because you got like your top 2, you got Nanaimo. I would even put kind of Victoria, Maple Ridge kind of in that middle echelon. I mean, Burnaby still has a chance, as we'll talk later, but then you got kind of Burnaby at 2 wins and Coquitlam at 1. So you kind of got those
I'll
3
give you a
tiers.
prime example, Sean. Is you're talking about Langley and New West, and they're 140 goals for, 143 goals for, respectively. And then you look at the Shamrocks sitting at 109. Right? They're not scoring. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And they're giving up goals because they're 107 goals they're giving up against. They're only a +2. So that's just huge amounts there. Take a look at Langley.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I mean, I would put like the Shamrocks in kind of that second tier.
Yeah. Because then you look at the bottom, the Adnacks are 79-4 and 128 again. It's sitting in the teams are actually sitting where they should be. You don't even have to look at the wins and losses. Just look at the goals for and against and slot them that way. And basically it's where
pretty much works out. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting. That's the first time in a long time I've seen that work out entirely like this. You can also go with wins and losses over the last 10, and you'd still get the same result, if you notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny that this thing is working out like that in the WLA.
And I guess we can go to the upcoming schedule and mention, like, when we're talking about Burnaby, they've got Coquitlam twice next week.
Yeah,
so
both
I mean,
of them are home games. So
both home games as well. Yeah. So I mean, you're playing the bottom team. You potentially could get 2 wins, and now all of a sudden, the 2-win team is looking at potentially sneaking up towards 4th in that last playoff spot.
Well, the Shamrocks have 1 win, maybe. They have the Adnacks next Saturday. But, that's after being annihilated by the Bellies on Friday. Right? So
the poor Adnacks, we're talking to them like they're the open, space on the bingo card.
Season. I mean,
it shouldn't be the free spot, though. You do have to play the game, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't. But
it's tough when you're 1 in 10.
When 79 goals in 11 games, it's hard for me to start putting my money on. I think the Adnacks are going to pull out a win this week. It's going to be one of those prove me wrong ideas.
Yeah.
So all righty. Well, that's a strange area there, but we're going to go to even more strange, and we have the we have the MSL, and always fun and exciting. We start off on Tuesday with
gentlemen, I'm going to catch you guys next week. Same time, right? Yeah, I just want to same time. I'll be ready to rock and roll. Huh?
Thank you very much for your PLL report. We appreciate it.
Oh, dude, absolutely. So, and listen, Gary, I want you on the steel steps. All right?
You got it. Bud.
I get you on there. I don't know, man. And don't pay attention to this guy. I love weed. Don't pay. He's a troll. He's a gambling troll. But anyway, I have my eye on that. But anyway, listen, guys, thank you so much. I will be ready for some more PL action. I'm going to get ready to roll here. So, guys, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys later.
That was Pat Bernard. Peace out, brother. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
All right, guys. Over we go into MSL action, and this is a weird one. This was a weird one. The final score for Six Nations was 11-4, but that's not the way it started. That first period was all Brampton. It was 2-0 Brampton after the first, and then kind of like what happened to Atlas yesterday, you could hear the roof go over in the ILA because 7 goals by the Chiefs. And we had a whole different aspect. It was then 7-3. Add another 4 goals into the third period against the one that Brampton scored. And, that was the end of that. Scoring for the Six Nations Chiefs, Cody Jamieson, Liam Leclerc, Charlie Scanlon, Randy Stotts, Lyle Thompson, Jamieson again, Austin Stotts, Wes Whitlow, Lyle Thompson, Shane Jackson, and Randy Stotts with his second. You don't see a lot of repeat names in that list, do you?
No.
Oh.
No, that's the scary part. There's 11 goals, and I think 2 guys had 2 goals. That's it. Everybody else was singles. For Brampton, you had Jonathan Gagliardi, Stephen Portelli in the first, Penn Eichstrad got 1 in the second, and Lucas Ferreira got 1 in the third. That was it. That was all. So the next night, Six Nations travels over to Brooklyn to face the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. And you think, well, maybe they're a little bit under the weather. You know, they've been tired of running up and down the floor. They'll be a little tired. Well, Six Nations jumps out to a 5-1 lead at the end of one. Scoring there was Austin Stott, Shane Jackson, Lyle Thompson, Sam Leclerc with a pair. Over for Brooklyn was Sean Wesley putting one in at the midway point of that period. Wesley has been their bright spark there because he got another one in the second. They started to get themselves a little bit more warmed up defensively, holding Six Nations to only 2 goals in the second period and getting 2 themselves, so they didn't fall any further behind. And through the third period, they actually put it together, scoring 4 times, making a game of it. But again, it's too little too late. When you're talking about Six Nations at that stage, they're into shut them down territory, and there really wasn't a whole lot that Brooklyn was going to do. So 9-7 was a Six Nations score, which brings us over to one that, well, for excitement-wise, this would be the game of the week. It was Brooklyn against Brampton, Thursday night in Brampton. And this one was a knock-em-down, drag-em-out affair where Brooklyn and Brampton went neck and neck for the longest time, with Brooklyn coming out 10-8 in this game. And it came down to the last little bit for Brooklyn to pull it away once and for all. In the third period, it came down actually Connor Kiernan with 3 seconds left. It says here 10-9. Connor Kiernan with the game-winning goal, 3 seconds left. How many times have I had to say that with Brampton? That's at least 3 times this year that they've lost in the last 5 seconds of the game.
Jeez.
So put 3 more wins in there, see where they sit in the standings.
Take your pedal off the back, or
Takes them from where they are, takes them right up into third place there. It's just crazy. And of course, they give up a shorthanded goal as well, and a couple of power play goals, like 3 of them. So if they stay disciplined, this game isn't even close. But Brooklyn pulls it out 10-9, and we're off to the proverbial races. The other game that night was Peterborough over Coburg. And again, one of those ones where you expect it to be like 22-4 or something like that, and 12-9. And with this one, it comes down to Coburg bringing it to a game in the third period. You had David Anderson, Aaron scoring. Nick Rude got one for Peterborough, which put this thing away. But throughout the game, it was a nip and tuck game. It never really got too far that the Coburg, you could think they would come apart. 5-1 Peterborough after 1, 5-2 in the second. That's 10-3, right? Here comes Coburg with their third period surge, 6 goals. Where'd that come from? Now, think about that as against a full Six Nations team. Do we think that Peterborough can survive having a relapse like that in the third period? Because they're not going to get up 10-3.
No, definitely not.
No.
I don't see them getting up 10-3. Also, you take a look at the shots. It was just a shooting gallery. It was 22-11 for Peterborough in the first, 25-14 in the second. Come the third period, it was 26-15 in favor of Kodiaks. So they took their foot off the gas, obviously, in Peterborough. So, will that come to bite them? They had 62 shots, but if they give another period like that, they'd have 75 shots, and probably an 18-9 win, right? It's just about like I tell my little students, there, you perform the way you practice, and if you are known for taking your foot off the gas, well, you take your foot off the gas. So you need to make sure that these don't become habits. Now, granted, it's Peterborough, a 4-time Man Cup, but hey, I believe Six Nations is making a case for it this year. Yeah. Moving a little further ahead, that brings us over to this evening's game, which was a punch 'em out event. Brooklyn against Coburg in Coburg. And by all accounts, it looked like Brooklyn was going to run away with this thing. Coburg got on the board first, but Brooklyn put together run after run after run in this thing. It was 7-4 after 1 for Brooklyn. And moving along to the second, we had the Kodiaks coming back with a 4-2 period, which now was a 9-8 game heading into the third. Enter the third period. Now this one here, pretty much everything happened in the third. You start off by the Kodiaks scoring 3 in a row, which gave them a 1-goal lead. Brooklyn comes and ties it. It's now 11-11. Here comes Brooklyn continuing with another 4 goals, so a 5-goal run altogether. Liam Osborne, Brady Kernan, Tyler Goodchild, and Caleb Creaser, and it's now 14-11. The Kodiaks come back with 1 more goal with under a minute left. Austin Murphy, too little, too late. The turning point in my eyes was a Brody Burkhoff face masking penalty that happened over in the first at about 15 minutes into the period. Because off of that particular thing, Brooklyn scored 3 times. Pilcher scored twice, and Brady Kiernan got a goal. That turned the whole thing around and had it from Coburg pretty much doing what they needed to do to, they're chasing the rest of the game. So, discipline. We keep talking about that. Discipline. It's a killer.
Yep.
Those 5-minute penalties are just absolute killers. But looking at the schedule for this upcoming week, where are we here? I love this site. This site just absolutely drives me nuts. All right, let's get this.
I might have it. Yeah.
We got Peterborough Six Nations on Tuesday.
Then
We got Thursday a pair of games. We got Coburg against Brampton, which I will be at, and we have Brooklyn against Peterborough as well. And then Sunday nights, you have the Excelsiors heading over to Coburg to play the Kodiaks, which should be a very entertaining game. And that covers the MSL this week. If we look at the standings, again, I love this site. Six Nations sitting in first place at 9-2. Peterborough is there in second at 8-2. Brooklyn is sitting at 6-4. And coming up the rear is Coburg and Brampton fighting it out for the last playoff spot. Coburg is 2-8, while Brampton is 2-11. Interesting. Those games, like I say, next Sunday is a real tell-all because that is for the last playoff spot. Well, that was a fair amount this week, guys. A little bit of everything in there, yeah?
Yeah, hey, one little thing I want to add. For anyone who might have seen the poll we put up last week regarding Man Cup potential final matchups. So we did get 13 votes. One person voted for Nanaimo and Six Nations. 2 people voted for Peterborough and New Westminster. 3 folks voted for Langley and Peterborough, and the winner with 7 votes, Six Nations and Langley. So,
yep, pretty good. Bet.
The way things are going, that could be the Man Cup final that we're getting right now. At least the way things are looking right now.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoy your time up in Langley. It's a lovely place, secluded from everywhere else. Really, just ask the Warriors. We're back down. Just a reminder to everybody that we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on YouTube. We are also on Thread. Yes, that new Instagram, Twitter kind of ideal. I'm curious when Elon Musk is going to tell us that we're not allowed to use the word thread on Twitter. It's coming. You know it's coming. But yeah, we're on that as well. If you want to catch any of our archive shows, you can check us out at All Across All the Time on YouTube. You'll have a full library of shows there, as well as other interviews and other games and other things to take a look at. Again, come back to us 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, because of late there's been a lot of news and a lot of movement. And as free agency is going to start coming towards us, there's going to be a heck of a lot of movement. So you're going to want to come and be caught up on all lacrosse news from every sort, because as we always say, we have our thumb on the pulse of the situation. You can also take a look for us at eopsports.com/lacrosse and take a look at some of the other areas that are in there as well while you're there. And again, please sign up for our newsletter while you're there. Guys, anything last words, Shawn?
No, I was looking forward to this next week. WLA, some big games coming up that'll definitely could have some playoff implications. And then, a few weeks out from the World Juniors in Saskatoon, as I mentioned before.
Absolutely, yep. And that's going to be a busy little time there as well. Any last words, Mike?
I'm looking forward to seeing how some of these PLL teams respond to kind of the quirks with the schedule this year, and definitely looking forward to our guest next week and to kind of find out a little more about that U13 mess out in BC and
some of the other messes.
What can be done to prevent future occurrences of something like that?
Yeah, in case you weren't around at the beginning of the show, we have Michelle Boyer on with us next week to talk about some of the nuttiness that's going on in women's lacrosse, amongst other things. It's pretty insane. But to give a little bit of her resume, Women's Box Lacrosse Global Network founder, Women's Box Lacrosse Working Group with World Lacrosse. She was the chairperson with World Lacrosse for Women's Lacrosse as well. Lacrosse Canada Gender Equity Committee, Team Canada Women's Field Lacrosse, assistant coach in 93, head coach in 97. Team Canada Women's Field player competing in 3 World Championships, the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame player category in 2020. And that's just scratching the surface of her resume. She is a fantastic person and a great champion of women's rights in lacrosse and gender equity, and has done amazing things up to this point. And even with all the blockheads and roadblocks that have to be dealt with along the way. And the best is yet to come. So I'm looking forward to her coming on next week and really delving into some of the issues and some of the solutions that are on the horizons, because there are positives. We like to dwell on, negative stuff here and there, but there are a lot of positives coming out and about. And we have an awful lot of great athletes that are on the U.S. and on the Canadian side, as well as throughout the world. And it's time to give them the light of day, as we say, as the men have had for so long, and to get that moving as well. So you won't want to miss the show next week. Remember, 9 o'clock Eastern with Michelle Boyer as our guest. It was going to be a spectacular time. For Shawn Slaght, who is comfortably in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, right? Before the trailer starts moving along, I guess. And we got Muffler Mike, who is sitting comfortably in Connecticut.
Who's checking out the score, just an update. Langley and Maple Ridge in progress right now, 2-2 near the end of the first period.
There we have it.
So,
Interesting.
Get on your Bet365, folks, and get those things down. Good odds right now. And I am Gary Groob, sitting in Toronto, and I want to thank everybody for coming aboard for yet another week. We really appreciate your patronage week after week after week. Thank you. And thank you for being with us on our sites. Thank you for being with us through all the articles and everything else, and for staying with us. And we will work tirelessly to make sure you are up to date with everything. Until next week, remember Michelle Boyer next week with us. It's going to be fantastic. You won't want to miss it. Until then, have a safe week, and we'll see you then.